Hi, I'm Peter Haddock and I'm here at GEO Business with Chris Evans. What you're doing here is literally helping MMC come into reality at every stage. Tell me about it.
So what we've done is we've put together a structure that we can use to replicate what would happen through the stages of construction in the UK construction market. So we're looking at the design process, how we can get designs created with an emphasis on DFMA, which is designed for manufacturing and assembly. Then how can we make sure that what's being created in the factory environment is being built correctly? You know, does it conform to the design? So we can check it in the factory environment before it goes to site. We can then use that same design on site to position everything accurately so that when the materials do turn up, they go in the right place first time. And then to do the as-built checks at the end and make sure that it has been installed correctly so that we don't have to go back and do rework, because obviously rework is very costly to a project, it impacts the margins, but it also is a sustainability issue as well. You know, if we get things right and we get things done properly first time, we can reduce the carbon emissions of a project as well.
So come on, let's go on the MMC journey here at GEO Business. So we're starting here with the design, Chris. So obviously we've got all of the different layers that come into play here, and we can click on this model here and see how those come into play and therefore how they need to be delicately put together on site. So when you talk about layers, folks, we're talking about things that are embedded in walls that have been fabricated, so utilities and things like that. And we're also talking about the structural integrity of how things connect together, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely, and we're doing it with our Bricsys CAD software. So Bricsys CAD is part of the Hexagon group, and it is a CAD-based environment, similar to all other CAD that you will see in the marketplace. They've got flexible licensing options, which is very unique in the industry that they work in. But we have the ability to design in 2D, 3D, within a BIM environment, within a mechanical environment, or within the Bricsys CAD platform. And as you say, we can then use the object library, so the individual elements that are built in the object library to come in, put them together and create those designs that can then go into a manufacturing process, but also then use that same design for staking out on site. So as you can see on the screen here, this is a full BIM model of what we have constructed for our MMC tours and for GEO Business and DCW.
And folks, it's also on this tablet, because it's no good having just a station here. Manufacturing, great, that's on a big screen in the manufacturing facility. I'm a construction manager, I want to walk around the job site. So I've got all of that information also readily available on this tablet as well. But come on, there's some technical stuff that's going on here, Chris. We need to have a look at this. What is this device and why is it literally central to this whole MMC demonstration here?
So this is the Icon ICR80. It's one of the total stations in the Icon range. Icon stands for Intelligent Construction, and it was designed to be used in those digital construction environments. So the tablet you've got with it is the CC200, which is the new tablet that works alongside it. And although the instrument is here and it's central in the stand, the real power is in the software. You know, that's what we're trying to push forward, is the software element. So you can see the IFC model on the screen there, which is what we've had designed in the CAD environment. And we can pick each individual element on that screen and use this to turn and point to exactly where it needs to go on the site. We can touch a point.
You know, you're able to go and, whoa, and here we are. It's in action, folks. Good job I wasn't leaning against that. Chris should have warned me there. But that means that you're actually taking the latest readings on this machine when we're physically on site, isn't it?
Exactly. So if you imagine that these vents weren't actually on the structure, or the lift shaft wasn't there, or the MEP wasn't installed yet, we could use this instrument to turn, point a laser at where it needs to be installed. They can accurately position where the drill point needs to go to put the fixings in place ready for it to come to site.
Which brings me on to the big pipe of ventilation here we've got here. This is the pipe you get straight to the Hexagon brand, folks.
If you imagine a pipe of this size, or any of the pipes, you're going to have cut-throughs in the brickwork so that they can travel through into different rooms. So we're using the Icon system to position where those cut-throughs are going to be, so that when we come to site, we don't have to make any adjustments to the brickwork or change things.
We like to have buildings that are not just square boxes. And with that, unfortunately though, comes engineering challenges and things like that as well, doesn't it? So, you know, the classic thing we've got here, we've gone from the square beams to literally this beam here, which is the cylinder style. And so again, that causes different elements of how you're connecting into a main structure and how that structural integrity is there, doesn't it?
It does. So again, within the software, because we have different complex designs that we're working with, you can load it straight into the tablet and we can work with any element there. And by working directly from the IFC model that's been generated within Bricsys CAD or other CAD environments, we can pick the individual elements, so you can just touch that column and the software will automatically create all of the positioning points for you on that column so that you're not having to manually work that out in an office.
And folks, it's not just that icon system that you use to do all this, because Chris, we've got some other stuff over here. Follow me over here, guys. I like to call them the wizard ones, Chris, for a long time, but the AP20 is one of those poles that you can literally pick up, folks, and it will work at an angle.
So if you're working within a concrete structure that has rebar running through it, and you need to measure points that are through the rebar, you can't necessarily get your pole vertical.
Yep.
So we need to be able to take measurements at angles. But interestingly, with the AP20 within the Icon platform as well, you have the ceiling mode on it. So we can invert the pole upside down,
right.
and we can use it to position the MEP on the ceiling as well.
Fantastic.
So the system will automatically know the offset from the prism to the point, and when you rotate it through 180 degrees upside down, it automatically changes to tell you you're working on the ceiling as well.
And of course, we've got other little devices, and I'm talking about little devices because it's over here, folks. This is the latest BLK that has been miniaturized from the original one that I saw, but you know, we're talking now about scanning being possible in lots of different environments.
Absolutely. So the reality capture devices, particularly the software, come in at different stages through the construction process.
Yep.
So right at the very start, we use it to capture what's already on site.
Yep.
So you know, there's a big push towards retrofitting existing buildings rather than building new. So if we can understand what we have, we can take that point cloud data into Bricsys CAD and design from the existing structures that are already on the project. So it's important in that phase. But once we've gone through the process, and we're in a factory environment and we need to check the individual elements, we can use this to scan those, check them back against the model to make sure that they've been constructed properly. And then when we move to the final stage of construction on the project, using it for deviation analysis. So has that lift shaft been put in vertically? Is it correct? So when the lift contractor comes in to position the brackets and all of the mechanical elements inside it, is it going to fit? Has it got enough clearance to go through? Because you don't want to ship all of that to site and find out that it's not going to fit. But then also by scanning all of the site whilst it's going through, we create our as-built model that goes into that facilities management environment. We have deviation analysis, so we know whether stuff's been built accurately and whether it's within tolerance, and we can sign off for the contractor's payments on the project based on that as well. And we can also look back through the stage of construction, as you say, almost peel back the walls and find out where everything is. So using reality capture in conjunction with multi-vista software, which is another part of the Hexagon group, we can do the construction documentation process as well and understand what's happened all the way through the project, guys.
So come on, let's spin around. What we're really doing here, folks, is we are creating the reality of what happens on a job site. We're letting modern methods of construction advance themselves to not be a burden when it comes to site, but also to be correct and right. But what we are doing is we're saying the terrible word is going to hopefully disappear at the end of a project, and that's snagging, folks. If we can actually sort this stuff out, we can make sure that at every level, like you said, Chris, we're checking, we're seeing what the reality is, we're capturing everything. When it comes to the end of the project, it should be right.
Absolutely.
Because we've gone through the little bits of leveling out or whatever that may or may not need to be done throughout the project. So, folks, if you're going to have a future for modern methods of construction, I suggest you get on board with Chris and the team, because the word snagging has got to disappear from the way in which we build buildings and structures in the future. Chris, it's been great to meet you today. Good luck with the modern methods of construction done the Leica Geosystems way.